Good morning. I guess they didn't want to unmute me this morning. Good morning. Good morning. It's Friday morning. Welcome to another edition of Let It Be Known. Welcome everybody. Welcome white folks. Welcome haters. Welcome self haters. Welcome you all.
You know what? That is not how you start. Welcome, everybody.
Everybody.
Come on in. We have a lot of topics to get through. Some are going to be debatable, and all opinions are welcome.
Yeah.
They might not
Yeah.
be
Hey,
agreed with,
welcome.
but
Like I
they're
said,
welcome.
welcome.
But lots of things happening today. And we have the details on all of it right here on Let It Be Known.
Yeah, and Dr. Joni too. We hope that you get well real soon, and welcome back. And we hope that we can help you some way in your recovery from whatever is going on. Hopefully, you and your family are well.
Yeah, for
What
sure.
does absolutely? What does our producer have for us this morning? I'm not sure if folks can hear it. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm not sure they
Page
can hear it.
explainer about
There you go.
DEI-related discrimination. As chair of the U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. Are you a white male who's experienced discrimination at work based on your race or sex? You may have a claim to recover money under federal civil rights laws. Contact the EOC as soon as possible. Time limits are typically strict for filing a claim. The EOC is a federal agency charged with enforcing federal anti-discrimination law against businesses and other private sector employers. The EOC is committed to identifying, attacking, and eliminating all forms of race and sex discrimination, including against white male applicants and employees. Check out eoc.gov to learn more and read our one-page explainer about DEI-related discrimination.
Mm,
As
mm, mm.
chair of the U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission.
Wow. It just listen. Once again, when you got idiots sitting there talking bad about every popular black official, and you see stuff like this going on, come on, I, I can't, Neil.
Yeah, that was the commissioner chair, Andrea Lucas. And basically she's encouraging white men to file for claims of race and gender discrimination. That is insane. When the statistics are black unemployment rates have skyrocketed to 8.3%, while the national average is 4.6. What do we say? They catch a cold, we get pneumonia. Now the average is at 4.6, but African Americans are at 8.3. Okay. And guess what? The rate for white men is 3.6.
Hmm. Hmm.
3.6.
Yeah.
So, girl, please. And of course, she was appointed by Trump. And she's a champion, Stacy, for a colorblind approach to civil rights laws. And she was one of the main ones who wanted to eliminate DEI.
Well, this is exactly what what this administration is about. This is they have they have hijacked everything to do with civil rights and turned it on its ear. And they want to give white men handouts. They want to give them money. It's just insane that there is not enough people in this country in power to stand up and say, you know what, y'all have long since crossed the line. This is over with.
And
It's not enough.
what makes it problematic is they're not paying attention to the data, which is really going to be the dog that bites them in the ass. Because data doesn't lie. And when you continue to ignore it in all agencies and branches of the government, you're going to turn everything upside down. You know what I'm saying? Like, because You can't survive. This economy, this nation cannot survive on white people alone. It just
Well,
can't.
but the thing about it is, and you're right, they certainly want to see if that's a fact. They want that fact to be proven. They're doing everything in their power to try and get rid of everything that looks like it's black, Hispanic, or whatever. So
Well,
they really
yeah.
want to try it. They want to
Yeah,
try
but
it.
the data does not lie.
Mm-hmm.
And the data is the reason why you get data is because it helps you solve problems.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that they would ignore that the average unemployment rate is 4.6 and that black people are at 8.3, that should alarm them. You know what I'm saying? It's unbalanced, and we're not even talking about the Hispanic statistics.
Right.
And so, like,
Right.
when we even see, like, Benny Thompson was asking the FBI director, what's the data? How many of them is it? What's the address? They do not believe in data. Just because you say a lie, it don't make it the truth, no matter how hard you lie about it.
Well,
It's
and that's
not
the
the
problem,
truth.
though. They tell the lie. The lie is what they can't breathe without lying. And so the lie becomes the truth to them. Dr. Marilyn says Dr. Francis Cress Weisland told us. And yeah, it's like we have been warned, and now we're seeing this a total takeover of white supremacy in this country.
Yeah. And the problem is that sometimes hiring is not based upon skills and merit. Hiring is based upon, that's what discrimination is. It because you could be qualified, but your name is Shaquita.
Mm-hmm.
You could be
Well,
qualified, but your color is brown or
mm-hmm.
black.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well,
that's what
in
we're
this
talking
case,
about.
right, and in this case, the only for them, for these hood wearing individuals, the only thing that matters if you're white male. They don't even care about white women.
And
They
the
don't
fact that
even
she
care.
would sit in Washington, D.C. and represent an official office of the United States government and say some bullshit like that.
Yeah, there you go.
And know that they are working towards that. They're turning it upside down, and they're going to be the ones impacted by the most, because when you don't pay attention to the data, bad things happen. Your numbers are off. It's going to throw the economy off, because this United
It's
States
already
is
off.
not
Yeah.
going to survive on white people. They're not just going to survive on people who support Project 2025. They're not going to survive on just those rich folks that Donald Trump is helping. It's not going to work.
Yeah. Well, it's Epstein file day.
We're still waiting.
And look, listen, one note, and I found, it's so many, but one thing that jumped out at me yesterday again, uh, is that MAGA GOPs are on record trying to redefine what pedophilia is. And they also have been several calls by MAGA to lower the age of consent. For instance, the year after meeting Epstein, Trump lawyer and major Trump and MAGA supporter and Epstein Island visitor, Alan Dershowitz, and I intentionally said his name wrong, wrote an opinion piece for the LA Times. So it's on record. This is on record. He argued in that piece that the age of sexual consent should be lowered to 15. And he said, quote, statutory rape was an outdated concept. He said, quote, if a 16-year-old decides to have an abortion, then a 16-year-old can decide to have sex. There should be no questioning a man who wants to have sex with a 16-year-old. This is Alan Dershowitz. This is Trump's big time guy. And then you see some pictures that they released with all of them guys with Epstein. The Democrats released some pictures last night. And of course, the whole Trump thing. Trump had a conversation with Howard Stern that again should make you, like Dr. Jones says, oh my God, this is disgusting. That makes you even more disgusting, want to throw up in your mouth. In that discussion with Howard Stern, he says, they're talking about Paris Hilton. He met Paris Hilton when she was 12 years old, and he said, quote, oh my gosh, she's hot. Who looks at a 12-year-old and says she's hot? And he goes on to talk about how when she turned 16, she was this, she was that. And no one found that appalling. No, not the MAGA GOP. They didn't find it appalling. But we can get so many other examples of this within the MAGA folks.
Well, it looks like they're going to hold on to these files until midnight. You know, I mean, release them. What you holding on to them for? You throwing us Hunger Games. You're throwing us Trump Kennedy Center. You're throwing us presidential nothing burger address. Release the files. You gonna wait till 11:59 tonight? Is that what we doing? Trump clan? That's what we doing?
So what they're doing, I'm gonna tell you what they're doing.
Files.
Right. But here's what else they are doing. They have been doing, and they are pushing to redirect everything, to try and redirect everything from the Epstein situation. What they're going to do, Niele, is exactly what Alan Dershowitz suggested in his LA Times piece, and that is they're going to change the age of consent. And I dare say, he said 15. They're going to make it like some of those third world countries where the child will be able to you'll be able to marry children in America. And I know a long time ago, my wife said that. She said they're going to do something like they're going to do that. She said this long before this Epstein stuff, long before Trump. She said this is the way this country is headed. And here we are. You got big time MAGA Republicans saying that they should lower the age. Who was it? In one of those states, we talked about this on the show when it happened, that they were pushing a bill to make 12-year-old girls, not boys, mind you, 12-year-old girls eligible to get married. We talked about this about a year ago. And this was a Republican bill. Now the bill has not gone anywhere, but it's interesting to note, while it has not advanced, it has not been killed either.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Trump said Trump syndrome, white man syndrome. And I think that, data and study would prove that this country does have a white man syndrome problem, and it's all of the things that are horrible, right? The KKK, slavery, slave catchers, white men with young girls, whether it was the slave girl, some of it was the daughter, it's just, there is a certain type when you think about it. And when you think about what Project 2025 represents, when you look at their behavior over the last 12 months, let's call it white man syndrome.
Yeah, and Greer is pointing out that you already do have some child marriage going on in America. There's an opinion piece there that I'm not sure when it was written, probably not too long ago. Why do we allow child marriages in America?
I mean, but it's nothing new under the sun. I think of that. I think of Elvis Presley. I think of that other rock star, white guy.
So many of them. Jerry Lee Lewis. You're talking about?
Yeah, Jerry Lee Lewis. That's nothing new under the sun. I mean, and if you want to go back, it's even biblical. So it's nothing new under the sun, but I think as a culture and as a people, we have evolved to understand that, data like consent, brain development, when it's time. That's why you have, 16, you get a driver's permit. 18, you're legal, but you still can't drink in all states. 21, you're officially legal. This is because of over time and data and develop. We know these things, but white men have this, predominantly, I'm not going to say all white men, but they have this perversion about them. And it's showing up through this current presidential administration.
Yeah. RNG says it's their nature. Thomas Jefferson, S-Aid, we can't say the R word, RNG. S-Aid, a 14-year-old black girl, and some still praise him. Dr. Maryland says, I'm not surprised if this passes with this overturn sex offenders convictions. What about R. Kelly? I'm sure they're not even thinking about R. Kelly, but yeah, I would imagine.
I doubt it because look at how they're doing.
I would, right, but I would imagine if they did this, Niele, I'm sorry, I just wanted to say this: if they were to formally go in the way that Dershowitz and others want them to go, then any halfway decent lawyer will be able to say, okay, let my client out of jail, and they would have this law in their briefcases to show the judge, let him go.
I mean, they could, but I mean, look at how many, it just depends on who you are. Because look at, how, they're curbing powder cocaine versus crack. Look at how they're curbing marijuana. It's still Black people and people in prison for marijuana. So I don't think it would just be, that easy to do, because there are a lot of laws that have locked a lot of people up that have changed, but then people are still locked up. So I don't think it would just be like open the floodgates. It would just be a new way of moving forward.
Yeah, but also you have to admit, with this administration, nothing should surprise you. Nothing that is done in a nefarious and nasty way should not surprise you. That's for sure. And listen, this, just to clear again, yesterday we talked about that grumpy, angry, shouting match, one on none shouting match from the White House, Wednesday night's shouting match, that what that was. But here's a few more facts, folks. And again, I preface this by saying I'm not putting one over the other. I'm just giving you facts, because misinformation permeates us today. But from factcheck.org, under Joe Biden, the U.S. added more than 16.1 million jobs. Under Donald Trump, the U.S. has lost 2.7 million jobs. Under Joe Biden, unemployment averaged 4%. Under Donald Trump, it's more than 6.5%. Biden's administration added more than 610,000 manufacturing jobs. Trump has lost more than 178,000. Economic growth under Joe Biden was positive 2.8%. Under Trump, it's positive 2.2%. Trade deficit was a plus 40 under Biden. It's plus 36 under Donald Trump. So those are facts. When you keep hearing all of this nonsense that comes out of Pennsylvania Avenue and beyond, fact check, folks. You guys complain about misinformation. Well, fact check. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to, talking about data, information. It's important, and they totally disregard it. And it's going to come back and bite them in the ass, because just because they're saying, everything is beautiful, inflation is down, facts and data matter. And you're not going to be able to run this country on white folks and fake news, fake facts. It is going to bite them in the ass, because they are just totally just disregarding. I mean, and we're going to talk about it more, but they're just totally disregarding the rule of law, just basic standards, ethics. They're ignoring everything, and it's like the data is there. It's there. And even if you don't say it and you tell a lie, and even if the people believe you, the facts are going to rise like boiling water.
Yeah, I think that when, and it's not certainly far from just us saying this, and it's a well-known fact that this is without question the most incompetent administration in the history of this country. There's no question. You can argue with the wall. You talk to any expert, and they will tell you beyond a doubt. And it's not even, listen, and when these experts say this, and when others, the news media and other folks say this as well, they're not even talking about the president. If you add the president in the equation, But we don't even add the president into the equation.
Mhm.
Talking about the cabinet and oh my gosh.
Mhm.
Anyway, folks, and speaking of, the man has a lot of time on his hands. That is the commander in chief over there. His latest decorating projects has ruffled some feathers, and folks online are calling him petty and embarrassing. My question, Niele, is he 50 Cent level petty?
For sure. They're on the same level.
They're at the same level.
Different cultures, same level.
Same level, different cultures. Apart from Ronald Reagan, who is regarded as a fan, a quote fan of Donald J. Trump, how does he know Ronald Reagan would be? I don't know. But on his plaque, the very detailed signs do not hide Trump's criticism of past presidents, Barack Obama and Joe Biden and Bill Clinton and even George W. Bush. Obama, of course, he singles out because the absolute he is as jealous as of Barack Obama, Niele, as a scorned man with his ex-girlfriend or wife. I mean, it's that type of jealousy. It's the 50 Cent P. Diddy type of pettiness that he carries for Barack Obama. He calls Obama, they do this plaque at the White House, and he puts under that Obama is one of the most divisive, this is a quote from that plaque, one of the most divisive political figures in American history. It also states that Obama, quote, crippled small businesses and weaponized the IRS and federal bureaucracies against political opponents. Sounds like a lot of deflection there, Niele, and it further refers to Obamacare as a highly ineffective Affordable Care Act. Meanwhile, this administration and its cronies, MAGA Mike and them, are making sure that Americans, black, white, and otherwise, can't afford health insurance. But his jealousy of Barack Obama to the extent that Melania, as we know, plagiarized Michelle Obama, it's something to be studied.
Well, I mean, he was disrespectful to a lot of presidents, Joe Biden as well. I mean, the fact that he would, when you go to the portrait library, the Smithsonian Portrait Library in DC, they have a portrait of every president, and they talk about what their legacy was, right, from a historical and factual, presentation. And I think, like, sometimes the spirit moves, and I think the word for the day, if we was in church, is facts and data. Because, like, this is the third story that we've had, and it's full of lies, just full of lies. And that's the scary thing, is that we know that this administration wants to rewrite American history. And this is just another example of them telling lies and misinformation. And as far as it even Obama's concerned, even Republicans respect and like the sensibility of Barack Obama. There's no rationale in that White House because of the leadership. I mean, we saw the Vanity Fair article this week and the crackpot of what we call the chief of staff. But, it's just on all levels, there is no sensibility. And because Barack Obama represents that, and he can walk across the aisle, he can go into rural America. And it's just like he's just jealous, and everybody understands why. Everybody understands why. It's understandable. We get it. But I think the bigger issue is just the lies, the misinformation, and the lack of data. It's just horrible.
But you say everybody know why he's jealous of Obama? Well, give us a couple of reasons.
No, I said the sensibility.
Oh,
the leadership.
Because we could probably name, it'd probably take us a whole show to name all the reasons, I'm sure. I mean, intelligence, class. We can go on and on and on.
For sure.
And you won't find Obama saying, and this is what Trump said, folks. This is not no paraphrasing anything. He and Melania enjoys watching. Melania actually introduced him to this Paris Hilton sex tape, and he and Melania enjoys watching it. Remember, he met her when she was 12.
Yeah, I mean, just it's ridiculous. The way that, you thought when they said we're gonna rewrite, no DEI, no Black history, and it's not like, okay, no Black history, but now you guys are totally rewriting facts. And I mean, just totally, just erasing the truth, just disregarding everything that happened. We're coming up on 250 years. They just gonna erase everything that happened and just tell the story that they want to tell and pick the facts they want to pick. Clearly, that's what this row of lies at the White House is.
There you go. All right, what else you got?
So, what we have is, let's head to Texas, where Texas State University has canceled Black History Month's exhibition that they were going to have, originally scheduled for February. And this is due to concerns about Texas anti-DEI legislation. Now, the university is also reconsidering future programming. Okay, and let's be clear. In February, Black History Month turns 100 in 2026. And so that's a pivotal moment for Black people in this country, but not only Black people, but to American history. And so when we see things like this, as a Black community, we have to be very vigilant about how we celebrate Black History next month as we turn 100 in celebrating our culture, our excellence, and the contributions to Black people in this country.
Yeah. It just this is par for the course. This is what's going on in this country. This anti-DEI, when really, again, they have taken the meaning out of everything and switched it. They've changed. You talk about biblical stuff, scriptural stuff. The scriptures say what good will become bad and what bad will become good, and that's what we're seeing.
Right. And then another headline yesterday was Trump's board renamed the Kennedy Center the Trump Kennedy Center, and all hell broke loose. But Congressmember Joyce Beatty was going viral because she spoke up saying that this was she was on a call. Take a look at what she had to say. That man hit the button. It's in the script.
In my congressional office in Washington, D.C., just ending a call with the Kennedy Center, where I serve as an ex officio member. I am bringing this to you live today because what you may hear is that there was a unanimous vote to rename the Kennedy Center the Trump Center. Be clear, I was on that call, and as I tried to push my button to voice my concern, to ask questions, and certainly not to vote in support of this, I was muted. Each time I tried to speak, I was muted. Participants were not allowed to voice their concerns who were online. Yet it was said at the end, it was a unanimous vote. Clearly, the Congress has a say in this. This center, the Kennedy Center, was created by the Congress. I think it's important for us to know that this is just another attempt to evade the law and not let the people have a say. As a strong supporter of the arts, as someone during my entire time here in Congress, I have participated in the Kennedy Center's programs, and I salute all the artists who have performed there. I'm Congresswoman Joyce Beatty. I'm sitting
Yeah, and see there you have it. Lies. They said yesterday it was unanimous, and here you have a Zoom call with people who oppose. They disregard the people who oppose and put out a fake lie. Now questions remain, and however about questions remain about the legality of the board's move to rename the building to the Trump Kennedy Center, and members of the Kennedy family condemned the efforts. And so there you have it. Once again, they just lie.
Yeah.
It wasn't unanimous.
Yeah. Yeah, and Mike V is asking, where's the Kennedy family on this? Caroline Kennedy put out a long statement
She did.
condemning this. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
a lot
and
of them
RG,
did. So,
yeah,
it's just ridiculous that and see, when the news posts the headlines of what he did, what they left out is what the Congressional Black Caucus member did, and that she was there. Why wasn't she a part of the news cycle yesterday? Because she spoke out and she was muted.
yeah.
This week, Fani Willis, she was at the state capitol in Georgia speaking her truth, asking them, why you not talking about the swatting? Why you not talking about the threat? They muted her mic. They love to mute a Black woman. Okay, we were talking about presidents a little earlier today, this morning, and let's talk about the difference a president makes. Now, while Trump announced his Hunger Games, and I'm talking about the Patriot Games he announced yesterday, which is a 4-day challenge that will pit top high school athletes from across the country against one another. I don't know if you guys saw the Hunger Game, but it sounds very similar. President Barack Obama released his annual list of favorite books, movies, and music. We were just talking about the Kennedy Center, the arts. President Obama put out his list and he said, I hope you find something new to enjoy. Okay. And it also should be noted on Obama's favorite music list, he had Kendrick Lamar, Drake, and a song by Chance the Rapper entitled No More Old Men. No more old men. We don't want it.
Oh gosh, Barack is rocking out.
You have a president that's lying, that's taking over buildings, that you know what I'm saying, that is starting a Hunger Game for high school students, and then you have a former president who is talking about the arts, who's sharing the arts and encouraging you to grow your mind. Sense and sensibility versus nonsense.
Stephanie Humphrey says, to feel so insecure that you have to have your name attached to whatever just to feel significant. And yeah, exactly.
Org said, nah, bro, the Trump Clan Games is a big no for me.
Exactly.
So what is he going to do? Have them running all across DC?
Listen.
What? 2026, get ready, get ready, get ready. Ain't that what the pastor say? Get ready, get ready, get ready. Now, this is something that we want the chat to chime in on. According to research from the University of Chicago's Department of Behavior Science, they say when people read text messages or emails, the brain does not hear the sender's tone. Now, instead, it fills in the missing meaning using whatever mood you're in, whatever stress level you're at, or assumptions of past experiences. Now, the study suggests that most arguments over text are not really about what was said, but rather what the brain assumes. So the question becomes, Stacy in chat, have you ever misread a text tone? And do you prefer having important conversations over the phone or via text?
Well, unfortunately, there are too many people who prefer it via text where you can't tell the tone. You don't really know. And that's unfortunate, but so many people do it. And I prefer it certainly on the phone or in person to have, especially if it's a serious conversation.
Yeah, and for me, sometimes I overthink my tone. Like, I hope they didn't take that the wrong way.
That's the other part of it.
And you miss that, like, should I call? Because I don't want them to think I was being rude. I was just getting through. Because sometimes I'll send a text but I won't say how are you, or but it's not intentional.
You're so rude,
right? And it's not intentional. It's just that, okay, I got to get this off my checklist and let me move to the next, or this person respond. And so I think there's just so much communication that gets lost in a text.
Mike V says emojis are used to express tones. Well, that might be true, Mike, but I've been told many times I don't know how to pick the right emoji. So
and an emoji too, because you might put, a cracking up face, and they're like, why would they?
What you laughing at?
Yeah,
what you laughing at?
Let's
take this outside. Nancy Wall says, I agree 100%. I prefer to talk over the phone. You can hear the inflection in their voice. And Dr. Marilyn says, yes, I have. And I'm a therapist. So naturally, I prefer in calls or in-person conversations.
I think that I've definitely sent a text and hope they didn't take it the wrong way. And I have received text messages and I'm looking at it like, well, what did they mean by that?
Well, Mike says, pick the black emojis and you'll be all right.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, I'm bad with the emojis. Listen, I give it a shot.
And I think also too, it's also the thing that if you text somebody and then they don't respond, and you can see that they read the text message.
Oh Lord, that's a fight right there.
Like, I saw that you read it, but
right.
You didn't reply. And then sometimes it's just like you really didn't read it. You saw that the text came in and it comes across as read, but you really didn't read it.
Well, listen, just yesterday, my wife got on me for not responding to a text message she sent. So, and it wasn't, and I didn't even read it. But like you said, it may have come across like you gave it a glance because you were in the middle of whatever. so you can get in trouble, folks, for not responding. Because I don't like it when I'm not responded to.
And I think that that is true too, Mike V.
Well, Mike V.
But I also think that, like for us, it's like we're trying to figure it out. But this, the millennials and most predominantly the Gen Zers, they prefer non-communication. They don't want to talk to you. They'll do a Zoom and they don't even want to cut on their picture. You know what I'm saying? And they want to raise their hand. You know what I'm saying? Versus, we just like talking. But it's just a totally different situation. They don't want to have verbal communication. And remember back in the day, we couldn't wait to get on the phone. The phone would be busy and we keep calling. We want to talk.
Yeah. Remember the busy signal? Well, there's a lot of people today don't know about the busy signal.
They don't. That's what I'm saying. They don't know. We would talk all night long.
Get off that phone. You're running up the bill.
And then what about the FaceTiming? What do you think about people FaceTiming you? Do you like it when people just out the blue FaceTime you?
No. I'm not answering your FaceTime if I don't know you. Or we not, if I'm not expecting you to FaceTime me, or we not like cool like that. I'm cool like that. If we not, I'm just not doing it. Don't be FaceTiming me out the blue.
Big Cheese said, DL, you could be ghetto sometime. Your mama. That's
your mama.
Your mama. How about that? Is that ghetto enough for you, Big Cheese? Your mama. Okay.
Your mama. That's fighting words right there.
Okay. Sure. Okay. So, moving right along, Nelly says his era, and I'm talking about Nelly the rapper.
Gosh,
Let's talk a little hip hop. Let's talk a little hip hop. And I think this is a good conversation to have with this group because we've been there since the inception, and then what the new generation is saying. But Nelly is saying his era was the toughest in hip hop history. Take a look at this.
Out songs, I had to go against DMX,
Eminem,
Jay-Z, Eminem, Lil Wayne, 50 Cent, Luda. All of us are fighting for one spot. So from 99 to like 2008, 10, It's the hardest era ever to get records.
Units juicing us.
When I put out songs, I had to go against DMX,
So,
Jay-Z.
What era do you think was the toughest in hip hop? I say back in the when it started, because you had the rap battles on the corner, and it wasn't about the money; it was about how you delivered your freestyle. I don't think this new generation has that.
Right. That you're 100% right there, but I just take exception to what Nelly said there about fighting for this spot or whatever. Why is it that you got to fight for a spot? There is enough out there that everybody, I think about early on. I mean, LL and them made music. It wasn't, did they beef? Well, it was more of just almost playful. It was a battle. Yeah. That's what it was.
It was a battle.
But it wasn't about, I could be the only one or number one. They battled. It was so much out there, from Grandmaster Flash, from Run DMC, from LL, from Rakim and Eric B and Public Enemy and all. It wasn't it's a whole music genre. Everybody can go number one. That you never heard Lionel Richie argue with Marvin Gaye about oh man, this is tough, man. I'm trying to top Marvin. I'm going to be number one. I'm going to be the only one. Grow up, Nelly. That's what I say about that.
Okay.
If you go make some good music, and nobody cares.
It's funny how money changes situations.
Miscommunications leads to complications. My emancipation. Your equation.
That's the answer right here. When money, when money gets into, people are having to eat, and we're talking about an industry that is promoting, as far as urban music is concerned, encouraging brothers to, to tell the most horrible stories. You know what I mean? You can't remember, you couldn't tell. There was a time. Well, let's take that back. LL was, doing "I Need Love," but then, hip hop evolved to a very gangster, vile, right? Exactly, right. And so then you had people like Kanye West at one time, who was considered an underground MC. Mm-hmm. So when NWA's tape hit the streets, oh my God, on the East Coast. That was some hard stuff that they were doing, and nobody was doing that on tape or on record at that time. You had, rap, remember you had Bridge, and you know what I'm saying, KRS-One, and Queen. You had those battles, who was the flyest MC, but in terms of when money got into it and the money was like that, baby, people were, record companies were not trying to promote anybody who was doing positive. The Fugees was able to break through because Lauryn Hill was so multi, and
Wyclef.
Their talent was just amazing. But hell, Queen Latifah would been singing in hip hop.
Right. Aquarius is saying Nelly couldn't hold the door for Black Sheep or leaders of the new school. Yeah, I think the storytelling was also like you had like Houdini singing about friends or one love. You had Biz Markie singing about vapors. The storytelling and the subject matters were vast. Now you have such a narrow topic. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, that was the fun part about, you had, the Furious Five, talking about, was it Hard Times?
Hard Times.
Yeah, Hard Times.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Rappers Delight, talking about, just, friendship, going to somebody's mama's house and the chicken tastes like wood. The storytelling was just, pick one, what you want to hear. Now it's the same sound. It's the I need so much money. I gotta have so much money.
And
This
sex.
lifestyle that's
You gotta
unattainable.
show your
It's
booty.
just crazy. Huh? What were you
And
saying?
if you're a woman, it's got to be about sex.
Sex. Yeah, I was listening to.
And Meg Thee Stallion, they're one of the biggest, right? Female MCs right now. And I'm not trying to take anything away from them, but they could, and we're talking about MC Light, Lauryn Hill, you can't. Come on, what we talking? Come on.
Exact 100%. They couldn't hold a candle to MC Light and those girls, Salt and Pepper and them. They couldn't. These girls today. I'm in the barbershop and I wish black barbershops would stop doing this. I mean, there are kids in the barbershop and they're playing just the most vile lyrics and you got just as much as the guys. They had Kanye and Nicki Minaj. The women are singing the vulgar stuff, and it's like, give me a break.
Yeah,
that's all y'all got.
Right. Think about like the vast subject and storytelling that Salt and Pepper did. From express yourself to what a man, to push it. You know what I mean? It's just.
And I'm gonna tell you right now, even as a man, if I don't see anybody else twerk, I would be so happy. I don't care who you are. It's like, give me a break.
I gotta speak to Mike V. I'm a Little Kim fan. I'm gonna keep it real. But when Kim's album first came out, I think we enjoyed it because it was provocative, because it was really at the time that she came into it. It was,
it was very much
trying to use her image and her sexuality but she took control of that, and I think that was why it was so provocative, and that's also why Cardi B, is so popular today. Nicki Minaj was off. I mean, oh my God, as an MC, let's just get away from all her craziness. But just think about when she first hit the scene, right? The challenges. The ups and the downs, what she was able to do with her voice. And I don't want to take anything away from any of the artists that are out here today, but money changed the situation.
I need depth though. I want to see Meg Thee Stallion talk about a little more. I want to hear Cardi. I think Cardi B sometimes I don't know. There's something unique about Cardi B. But there's still that just, I need a little more. I think one of my favorite songs, I'm not a huge Nicki Minaj fan, but one of my favorite songs by her is Moment for Life. That don't have nothing to do with sex. It just has to do with ambition. And I just like to hear a lot more of that. Just let me hear about love. I don't want to hear about fellatio all the time.
Right, all the time. How about some fun stuff?
I don't want to see your ass all the time.
Yeah.
I don't want to see you doing the splits, and you know what I'm saying. And it's like Glorilla, decent looking girl, but she just said when she first came out, the Glorilla that first came out is totally different Glorilla now.
Yeah, like that probably goes to what Greer's saying about the money. Change the game, right? You realize that if you don't already know, then you find out quickly, right? You got to do some things. But like I was sorry to say, the fun stuff. Who did a lot of fun stuff? You mentioned Biz Markie. He did a lot of fun stuff. Told stories. It was a whole story. She's just a friend, right?
Right.
Will and Jazzy Jeff, the Fresh Prince and Jazzy Jeff. Told stories,
storytelling, and I mean, think about Slick Rick and the show, Slick Rick and Dougie Fresh, the show. I mean, you heard you wanted to like that story, the whole story, all the way through.
Dr. Marilyn says our ears have been molested enough. I like that line.
That's one of the reasons why, even though it got ugly, okay. But I think that's one of the reasons why that battle between Drake and Kendrick was so, popular, because people, they were, you might not have liked everything they said, but they were telling stories that people could follow and understand. A lot of the music too, and hip hop, you can't even follow and understand what they're saying, right? You catch the sex stuff or the vulgar things, but that's about it. You know, so that's one of the things that appeals to me also about Kendrick is like, I understand what he's saying, and I do feel like I'm on a journey.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Right. Like one of his songs is what they talking about. They ain't talking about nothing. And they not talking about nothing. And like Cheese says the average price of a home is $400,000. So how do you expect Gen Zers to express themselves? Well, back in the day, they would rap about that. They would rap about, 100%. You know, they would call that shit out. They would call it out.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying? But they're so busy today trying to pretend like they got it. They're not going to tell the truth about the hardship of not having it and trying to get it. That's what hip hop is missing, the struggle, the grunt, the realness of it all. Everybody wants to be popping bottles in the club and have bottle service. Instead of them talking about how bottle service is breaking their pockets because they're trying to live up to an expectation that they don't even have to do. That's what makes that's hip hop.
There you go. 100%.
The reckoning. We got to blame Puff for all of
them. So listen, folks, Greer and Niele will take it from here. I gotta say goodbye for the week, but I will see you guys
let's do the Black History. We only got.
You go ahead. You got it. You got it. You go.
You don't want to do Black History? Okay.
Oh God. You can take it from there. All right. Niele says I got to do the Black History. I'm going to do the Black History. On this date, folks, in 1865, and I don't mean to rush because Niele is more than capable. South Carolina passed a law that forced recently emancipated Black citizens into subservient social relationship with white landowners, stating that, quote, all persons of color who make contracts for service or labor shall be known as servants, and those with whom they contract shall be known as masters. Following the Civil War and emancipation, many free Black people in the South remained subjugated by their former white enslavers. In South Carolina, in particular, and other former slaveholding states, many free people continue to reside in the same communities, sometime on the same land, working for white people who had previously claimed to own them as property. So that's really, and this is what they're trying to do today, Niele. Let's just face it.
Let's face it, that is definitely what's happening. But last one in 1996, on this day, the Oakland, California School Board made history by recognizing Ebonics as a distinct language, a landmark moment for Black culture and education. Now, the board aimed to use students' primary language as a bridge to improve their English proficiency, not to teach Ebonics itself. And Ebonics derived, just so you know, in 1973 from Dr. Robert Williams, who created Ebonics, quote unquote, at a conference to provide a name for the language spoken by Black children, moving away from negative labels like Black English. Because, that was very questionable. Do you think Ebonics is negative or positive?
That's a good question. I didn't like it.
You didn't like it?
Mm-mm.
Greer, what about you? What did you think of Ebonics?
I mean, I like it. I like having our own, so I don't have no issue.
Listen, have that debate.
Yeah, well, no, I mean, that's it. It's the weekend, it's the holiday season, so we hope you guys la. And in the meantime, be sure to check in with BlackPressUSA.com for the latest news, views, and opinions.
See you Monday.